while we're in the potting shed here looking at my plants. These are pomegranate cuttings. They're Lagrellii pomegranate, and the named variety Lagrellii. It's a flowering variety. It doesn't have fruit. The fruit they're all deformed, so it's the shapes of the fruit are all deformed as they become part of the beautiful flower. But they have successfully taken. All they did was take cuttings some months ago, and I dipped them in a bit of hormone, and those two rooted. I planted about 10 altogether, but those two have definitely rooted. The others haven't definitely rooted yet. They've started growing from the tips, but they haven't put on roots yet. So I just cut the bottoms off them and re-dipped them. I'll see how they go. They're just around here, the rest of them, but they haven't all been 100% successful yet. So, but I'm really happy about that. I'm really happy about these ones. I know how to do it. Next time I'll use perlite and vermiculite in the mixture. I'm learning about pomegranate cultivation and how to propagate them. And you can do air layering and layering, but these were successful just from cuttings taken in winter and a bit of hormone, so that's something that I learned. And yes, I'll be glad to have more Lagrellii pomegranates. They're a beautiful flowering variety, and they're extremely drought resistant. Let's go and look at some other things in my potting shed. We've got half a dozen Takuma capensis here growing. I'm going to put them somewhere. They don't like the really heavy frosts, so I'll have to protect them. I'll plant them near the house where they get some radiated heat, perhaps. Takuma capensis, so they're from South Africa in the Cape region. That's why they're called capensis. And they have orange tubular flowers. They're very like Campsis grandiflora, the Chinese trumpet vine, except they're a bush. They've got the same type of leaves and everything, except these are a bush. These don't climb, really. They're wonderful, quite drought resistant, but they're a bit frost tender. What's that there? Oops. What's that there? That's a Russian olive. Yes, we need more Russian olives. They're quite drought resistant. Very tough and beautiful perfume, edible fruits. What's this here? This here is a bougainvillea, or bougainvillea if you like. It's a red one, very drought resistant, again a bit frost sensitive. We have heavy frosts here, so I'll have to plant it near the house where it can get some radiated heat. This is a red one. Of course, I want a purple one that's almost blue. They're my favourite. I really want a purple bluish one. This is red. I'll just have to do with it. I might propagate some though. I can't wait to get my purple bougainvillea. These are all calencho cuttings. They're a very drought resistant succulent. I've just cut them a few days ago and I'm just letting them dry out a bit before I plant them. I'm going to make a couple of dozen. I just like having them all around the place, and I could sell a few for pocket money, couldn't I, if I wish. But they're very drought resistant and they attract the native birds. The honey-eating birds love the nectar and the red bells that they have, so I say if you can't beat them, join them. So these do really well in the heat and dryness here, so I really want something that makes the birds happy and that looks beautiful. The red bells do look beautiful, and they're easy enough to grow, just like cactus. They'll shoot roots as soon as you pot them up, and then I'll plant them out once they get to a good size. And I might sell off a few for pocket money, but I've got lots and lots of them. I'm going to propagate a couple of dozen. Of course you can put really huge branches in too if you like. You can put a giant branch in to start a plant, but I just wanted to start some for fun basically. These are Carissa macrocarpa. They're Natal plums from the Natal province in Africa, and they have beautiful fruits on them. They're related to, well, they're close relatives of things like poisonous things like oleanders and periwinkles and what else? Frangipanis, yes. Plumeria, because they've all got that torpedo, they've all got that, not torpedo, they've all got those propeller-shaped flowers, like a propeller. This one's about to bloom. They have edible fruits. They're covered in thorns. They don't really like the super cold, so you want to put them somewhere where they're protected in the winter time, or you could also mulch their roots heavily with a carpet of really thick mulch, and if they died down they'd still come back up in spring. But the main thing is, yes, they don't like the real cold, but they are quite drought hardy really. They're not a bad pot specimen. You can put them in a bucket. I had them growing in a bucket a few years ago, and just a normal plastic bucket from the supermarket. You drill holes in it and fill it with a good quality potting mix, and you'll get good sized shrubs that are big enough to fruit. They have fruits, red fruits, the Natal plum, and they're red and they do attract birds. They taste very nice too. I thought they tasted nice, but the birds didn't leave me very many. I want to grow more of them though. You could grow them in a cold climate as long as you brought them in for the winter time in the pots. They're not that thorny. They do have thorns, but I mean, some people have indoor cacti, don't they? Cacti. There's a thorn. That's what the thorn looks like. So they are quite sharp, but just if you just were wary of them, they do make a nice glossy-leaved indoor plant. They do. Natal plum, Carissa macrocarpa. Lovely and glossy, aren't they? And the flower too does have nice perfume, like a frangipani or a gardenia. I can't wait for this one to bloom in a day or so's time. Look at that bloom. So exciting. We've got lots and lots of goji berries, easy to grow. These are Lycium chinensis or sinensis, and they're very easy to grow from cuttings. The leaves are used in food as well as the berries. But I wanted to show you this plumbago here. These are from Africa, plumbagos, and that's my first time I've ever tried to grow one from a cutting, so that's grown very well from a cutting. Oops. There we are. It's grown from a cutting, and it's definitely rooted. I did use hormone. Some people don't approve of using chemicals, so they are welcome to use honey or to soak their branches in, say, mulberry with some water with some mulberry branches or some willow branches or elderberry branches. Some people have the theory that plants that strike roots easily, like elderberries, mulberries, and so forth, might put hormone into the water. Natural, so that helps, I suppose. Willow or mulberry, but anyway, they're growing. That's proof that you can grow plumbago easily from cuttings. This is a wee little Pomegranate Punica granatum nana. It's the type that has the tiny little fruits, ornamental fruits about the size of a bauble for a Christmas tree. Just for fun, I thought I'd get some. I must try propagating them too from cuttings once I get more of them. So, that's fun. Very drought resistant, ornamental fruits. Well, you can eat the fruits on those, except they're so tiny. Listen to that aeroplane. Of course, as I said, we've got goji berries everywhere. Goji berries, very easy to grow from cuttings. So amazingly easy to grow from cuttings. Here's some catnip. Our cat doesn't have the gene for catnip, but I might still propagate some. I can divide up this clump and make several more. I could sell them for pocket money, couldn't I? Anyway, that's catnip. What's this beside it here? Oops. That is a Gumby. I've got several Gumbys now, and the more Gumbys the merrier, because they do attract birds. They're a native plant. They were used by Australia's first people as a medicinal herb and berry and everything. So I'll have lots of those, and they definitely attract birds. They're evergreen, drought resistant, and they are rather attractive looking, aren't they? That green glossy foliage is very nice to look at when they get bigger. What's that there? My camera is too stiff. Why didn't I loosen it up first? That is a grapevine grown from a seed. The seed just fell into a pot, dropped by a bird. So I've got another grapevine now. I don't know what colour it is, if it's going to be a red grape, or a blue grape, or a green grape. But it's fun to grow your own grapes, isn't it? It is. It is. It's lots of fun. A jacaranda tree. Doing very well. We need more and more jacaranda trees. They're very drought resistant. And beautiful colour. Beautiful, gorgeous purple, blue colour in early summer. Can't wait to have more and more of them. So that's most of the things I've got in the potting shed.